Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Being with Bella podcast. This is episode 23. I hate how I said that, but we're gonna keep talking. My name is Isabella, but I also go by Bella. I'll give you a little bit of an intro. I'll give you a little bit of background. I'm working on being more consistent with that, like giving a little spiel about what my overall focus is with this podcast and what the purpose is. In this podcast, I focus on normalizing being with yourself, hence the name Being with Bella, and fully being in the state that you're in the present. A lot of that has to do with emotional processing and like sitting with your emotions, somatics, that type of thing. Wherever you are at and whatever your outlook on life is, this podcast is simply here to normalize that it is okay to be with yourself there and allow yourself to be there and truly just soak up the present moment, because the present moment is truly all we have. And also simultaneously working towards building an aligned life or continuing to live a life that is aligned with you. I think we sometimes forget to be with ourselves. We forget the being part of human beings, and we focus on just the do part, like just getting things done, productivity, which is great. I love ambition. I admire ambition, but I think we forget sometimes to just like be with ourselves, just like slow down. Like, you're not meant to constantly be go, 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 go. We're not meant for that. That's not the lives we're meant for. We are mammals. We aren't meant for that. That's a whole other spiel that I could go on. It is 2 a.m. and I am wide awake. I just ate a rice cake with some peanut butter because my stomach was grumbling and I could not sleep. And I put two and two together and I was like, okay. Anyways, I'm awake. I'm wide awake. Had to grab a snack for my body a little bit. What are we chatting about today, might you ask? I want to talk about the concept of like easier said than done, because it is such a real thing, and I think we don't give ourselves much grace with that, but ironically, that only makes it more difficult to do. Like, it's easy to say, but it's difficult to do, and it becomes more difficult to do when we give ourselves less grace and have less compassion for ourselves, from my personal experience. So I want to kind of dive into my theory on why a lot of things might be easier done and why that's such a common human experience. I think a big, big part of it is that we are afraid to feel uncomfortable. We're afraid to experience those uncomfortable feelings that come with taking a step forward, stepping out of our comfort zone, taking any sort of action that scares us or is unfamiliar. It can feel really uncomfortable, and I am currently in the process of ERP, which is like exposure and response prevention therapy, which essentially is exposing yourself to those uncomfortable feelings, and instead of doing a compulsion to try to make yourself feel better, you just sit with the uncomfortable feelings and you're like, I'm actually fine. Like, this feels really uncomfortable and this doesn't feel good, but I don't actually have to do anything. That's just an illusion because my body thinks I'm not safe, and I'm safe. I'm actually perfectly A-okay. And so I think it's so, so important to realize that a lot of times our brains want to protect us from a danger that doesn't truly exist, because we associate unfamiliarity and the unknown and uncertainty with danger. Oftentimes we associate things that don't follow the status quo with danger. There's more fear associated with those decisions because there's less certainty of like what of what that path will look like if you deviate from the status quo or the social norms. And that can be really scary, but also it can be so freeing. That is my little theory. We're afraid to feel uncomfortable. We don't trust ourselves to handle uncomfortable feelings. We're so afraid of uncomfortable feelings that we just avoid doing things that are unfamiliar and that make us feel uncomfortable. And that's so human and so real. This episode is to normalize the fact that so many things are easier said than done because of how uncomfortable it can be to truly change that behavior and step into a new version of ourselves. I am a walking representation of easier said than done. A lot of the advice that I give on here and a lot of the things I talk about on here and my TikTok and my Instagram, they're all things that resonate personally with me. And part of the reason I do this because I want other people to know that if they're experiencing something similar to what I'm experiencing, what I'm working through, and what I'm sitting with, that they're not the only one experiencing that and they're not alone. And it's okay to be imperfect, and it's okay to be a human. It's okay if sometimes you can't take your own advice. I'm still someone who's learning to navigate life. And it's so hard with social media and with influencing culture these days to truly trust and to remind ourselves that no human being is perfect and no human being has it all together 100% of the time. And I think it's hard to, because that's not really represented on social media. We tend to only show the good. We tend to only show what we want people to see and know. We tend to put on a performance based on how we want to be seen versus what our actual present state is. And that's so human and normal as well, because our brains associate other people disliking us or judging us as a threat to our safety. Back in the olden times, it would be a threat because, like, you wouldn't be accepted into the tribe. And that would mean you're not as safe because you don't have all these people that have your back. But I think something beautiful about our modern world is we have the freedom to think for ourselves and cultivate a life that is aligned with our values and our priorities. And it's okay if that deviates from the norm or other people's expectations of you, because it's not an actual threat to your physical safety. I would hope not, at least. Most of the time, it's not an actual threat to your physical safety to deviate from the norm. It's a little nerve-wracking because it's the less chosen route. It's the less encouraged route. It's the less praised route, quite frankly. It can be so normalized and so expected that it eliminates and closes people's eyes to a whole other possibility of how you could pursue your career or pursue a side hustle or pursue a hobby if that's all you want it to be. It just closes your eyes to the entirety of another path you could be taking simply because it's the less common one. And I think we don't trust ourselves. Coming back to the conversation of being afraid to feel uncomfortable feelings, I think we struggle to trust ourselves to handle those feelings. And since the feelings are unfamiliar and it's not something we've ever felt before, it's so nerve-wracking because it's like, this is unfamiliar. I don't know what to do with this feeling. And that is where the beauty of being comes in, is when you just let yourself sit with it and not try to rationalize it or make sense of it or make yourself feel more of it or less of it. It's truly just sitting with it, letting it flow through you, letting it be present in your body, and just knowing And then moving on with your day or with your life or whatever it was keeping you from moving on with, moving on. And I'm glad I decided to do this because this will help me fall asleep. I'm gonna sleep like a baby after doing a podcast episode at 2 a.m. Yeah, so I think just like trusting and being open to sitting with those feelings and knowing that just because it's unfamiliar to your body maybe, or just because, or not even, I don't even want to restrict it to just feelings, but like feelings and choices and anything that is like new or unfamiliar that we are curious about and want to open ourselves up to. Instead of viewing that as like that's scary, that's unfamiliar, like there needs to be less of that because that's unfamiliar and I need to stay in the familiar and just like I need to stay in what's safe and what's known and what's certain. Instead of feeling like that, or no, I don't even want to say feeling because you're gonna feel however you're gonna feel. And if you try to rationalize or control or change your feelings, that only creates more internal conflict and more problems with emotional regulation. Instead of trying to control or rationalize or make sense of things, let yourself step into that place where things are more ambiguous and things are more unknown and things are less certain. Because it is such a freeing feeling, I will tell you. To just be like, yep, I don't know for certain what's going to happen next. I don't know for certain if this is the right choice. I don't know for certain if this is going to work out for me or not. But I'm going to take that step forward because I know at the end of the day, like, and this is like, this goes for you too. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you have yourself. You always have you. You always have a sanctuary. If you can build a healthy relationship and a safe space within yourself, you always have that to come back to. And that's so beautiful because you become so unstoppable when you have such a healthy and secure relationship with yourself. You become so unstoppable and you begin to be able to take your own advice and you begin to have your actions and your words align and you begin to do the things you say you want to do and not just say you want to do them, but actually take action and make those things happen. So yeah, I really just wanted to highlight and normalize easier said than done because things are easier said than done. A lot of the times it's not so black and white as you are lazy or you're irresponsible or you are a hypocrite. It's really not that black and white. The majority of the time, it's because we were never taught how to sit with our feelings and we were never taught how to have that safe space within ourselves. And so we're scared to take that step forward that might force us to feel something uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you, I've done it. I know for a fact other people have done it. And that means that you are also capable of doing that. So pick one thing today that makes you feel a little uncomfortable, even if it's just like correcting your order at a restaurant when normally you're too scared to say anything, even if it's something as small as that. Go and like step out of your comfort zone just like a little bit. Because truly, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose when you're always going to have you and you're always going to have that safe space with yourself to come back to? So I think the best way to make ensure that you have that safe space in yourself is to continue to step out of your comfort zone and do things that scare you. Because then you begin to trust yourself like, oh yeah, I can handle this. I can handle the not knowing. I can handle the uncertainty. I can handle the unfamiliar. Continuing to do that is going to continuously prove to yourself that you are capable. And it's very healing for imposter syndrome. this podcast is so healing for my imposter syndrome because I'm showing myself I actually do have valuable things to say. Maybe not everyone finds value in it, but I find value in it. I know that there's other people who align with my interests and my passions that will find value in this. It's just a beautiful thing. Giving yourself grace, but while also pushing yourself to feel those uncomfortable feelings is going to get you so far in life. It's going to get you to beautiful places. So yeah, thank you for listening tonight. I guess it's not necessarily nighttime for you, but for me, it's definitely nighttime. It's 2:21 a.m. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2:22. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I hope that this helped you, even if it was just in the slightest, even if you took just like, now it's 2:22. Even if it's just like one sentence that I said in this entire episode, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess that I could do, but everything else she said is just like bleh. Even if that's how you're feeling, even if just one sentence I spoke out of all 23 episodes has helped you, that means I'm helping someone and making a difference. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad regardless. I'm happy you're listening up until this point, which means that you definitely got at least one thing out of this episode. I really appreciate it. It really means the world to me. And I hope you have a great rest of your day / afternoon / evening / dusk / dawn. I love you so, so, so much. Check out my social media. It's linked below. Don't if you don't feel like it. Listen to your intuition. Also, though, if you're the only reason you're not checking it out is because it makes you feel a little uncomfortable and it's unfamiliar, then you should check it out. Expose yourself to those uncomfortable feelings. Anyways, okay, love you so, so much. I will talk to you next time. Bye. Mwah.